everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got a battle report here for you. There's another 2,000 point battle of Warriors of Chaos versus Orcs and Goblins. And I know I've been gone for a little while. Most of my opponents have fallen off for real life reasons. And yes, real life always gets in the way of good fantasy, but it is what it is. So I get games in where I can. There's no real, the old world group where I live right now. I am also in the process of moving, so my free time has gone from a lot to a little. So yeah, over the next few months I'll get these in where I can. But no, I have not stopped playing the old world. I just don't have as much free time. Adult responsibilities. I'm working on that. But anyway, I got a really great game in. Don't worry, this one's going to be short, but it is against the great and noble Shyhammer. And I'm not going to try to do his intro because it'll hurt my throat, and I won't do it any justice. But this is a quick and brutal game where, honestly, I don't beat him. I know, spoilers, you'll see. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see the lunacy. Here's my list, and like I said before, I'm playing the Warriors of Chaos again for this one because the Beastmen, Tomb Kings, and Ogres were all already taken. So, in characters, I have 930 points, starting off with a Demon Prince, Lord Tremendous at 485 points. He's my general. He's got the Mark of Nurgle. He's a level 4 wizard with battle magic. He's got the Fly 9 rule, and I gave him the Ogre Blade, the Armor Meteoric Iron, 2 Favors of the Gods, and of course he's got the Enchanting Aura. I went with a more battle kit with this guy. Not sure if I like it. I want to make a Demon Prince work. I have a more caster build idea for him as well, but I wanted to give this a try and see what I thought. I'm not hugely optimistic about this one because when it comes to close combat and characters like this, I typically flub, and with no impact hits or stomps, he's really vulnerable in combat in my opinion. Then I have a Sorcerer Lord. They're tried and true. This guy's going to kick ass no matter what. Mark Zinch, level 4 wizard with battle magic. He's on the Chaos Chair. Gave him the Mark Chaos Undivided because it's free. Spell Familiar, Infernal Puppet, in favor of the gods, and the Ruby Ring of Ruin. The idea with this guy is he's a magic missile machine gun. He's got the Ruby Ring of Ruin for a fireball with 5 options from the battle magic. He's probably going to get the other fireball and Pillar of Flame, and then I can always drop a spell down for Blue Flame because he's Mark of Zinch for 3 pretty badass magic missiles. I really like that kit, and the Infernal Puppet just makes it so that I can better control the magic phase. I'm happy with that one. I got 538 in core, starting off with 5 Chaos Warhounds with Poison and Armored Hide. I had 10 points left over, why not? Then I got a unit of 6 Chaos Knights with Full Command, Mark Khorne, Lance's Shields Heavy Armor, the Brazen Collar, and the Icon of Darkness. I just really like being able to negate one from when people shoot at my guys. And then my really scary unit of Chaos Knights, 6 by at 259 with Full Command, Mark Nurgle, Lance's Shields Heavy Armor, the Brazen Collar, and the Banner of Rage, so that when they get frenzied, they stay frenzied. In special, I have my Dragon Ogre buddy. He's got a great weapon. He's a Shartak, and he's got the Blackened Plate. 2-up armor, 3-up ward versus flaming, strength 7 attacks. He's just a badass all around. And then in rare, I'm going for it. I have a Warp Fire Dragon, and I made him a level 2 wizard with battle magic. The way I see it is he's my shock trooper. I send him out. If there's nothing to charge, then he uses his Stone Thrower ability. He gets into combat. He negates ward saves on me as well, I'm aware. But just go in there and beat the crap out of stuff. And with battle magic, he could get Oaken Shield. He could get Hammer Hand. Or more than likely, he's going to get Hammer Hand. Just all around badass unit. And when he dies, he explodes and does a bunch of damage to everyone within 6 inches. Plus, it's a friggin' dragon. I'm excited to play it. Here's my opponent's list, and Shyhammer had destroyed his list right after our game. So when I asked him to send it to me the next day, he sent me what he could remember. So everything here is as close to accurate as we can make it. There might be some discrepancies. You know what? It's a battle report. It doesn't have to be exactly right. So I apologize if anything isn't completely accurate, but it's close enough for the purposes of this battle report. So with characters, he's got around 721 points, starting off with a Black Orc Warboss at 346-ish. It was his general. He was on a Wyvern, and he had a great weapon, a shield, troll hide trousers, and the glowy green amulet. Then he had a Goblin Odd Knob at 225, level 4 wizard with Wah Fog Magic, the Ruby Ring of Ruin, and the Idol of Mork. He had a Night Goblin Big Boss on a giant cave squig with Wallapa's One Hit Wonder, and then a second Night Goblin Big Boss on a giant cave squig. Only this Jagoff had a Backstabber's Blade. In core, he had around 588 points, starting off with 14 Black Orcs. With full command, all of them had great weapons. I think they were veterans, don't hold me to that. And they had the Angry Lads flag. Then he had a unit of 20 Goblin mobs with full command, shields, and 2 nasty Skulkers, or what we all know as Fanatics. And then he had a unit of 38 Orcs with full command, I believe Warbows, and the Spider Banner, because that makes sense. In special, he had a River Troll with a great weapon, and 5 Orc Boar Boys with full command, the Banner of Butchery. I don't know if they had anything else. He couldn't remember either, so it's possible that this was a little bit different of a unit than it looks like here, but, well, you'll see why it doesn't matter in a minute. In rare, he had a Troll Hag, which was awesome. I love that unit. It was a level 2 wizard with battle magic. I believe it was battle magic. He might have used troll magic. I can't remember. And the effigy of Mork. He had a Mangler Squig and a Doom Diver Catapult. Here are my spells for this one. The Warp Fire Dragon ended up with Hammer Hand and Oaken Shield. My Sorcerer Lord ended up with Blue Flame, Fireball, Pillar Flame, Arcane Urgency, and Cowardly Flight. Curse of Cowardly Flight. And then my Demon Prince ended up with Fleshy Abundance, Pillar Flame, Arcane Urgency, and Curse of Cowardly Flight. My opponent's casters ended up with Hammer Hand, Oaken Shield, Fireball, Itchy Nuisance, Foot of Gork, oh gosh, Evil Sun Shining, and I don't know what WG is. I'm sure it's something very cool though. And here's deployment. For my part, left flank to right flank, I've got my Warpfire Dragon. I've got my Knights of Khorne with the icon of darkness. In front of them is the Dragon Ogre. And then on the other side of the house, I've got my Warhounds. I've got my other unit of Knights. I believe those are the Nurgle ones with Banner of Rage. I've got my Demon Prince and my Sorcerer Lord. Very, very compact army, which is weird. I'm not quite used to this yet, but I'll get used to it. It is what it is. On my opponent's side, our left, his right, he's got his Night Goblin War Boss on a Squig, Cave Squig, and I think that's the one, the Backstabber. He might have the Walloper. I don't know, it's one of them. Next to them is the Mangler Squig, the most dangerous model on the table. Next to them is the Black Orc Biggins. Behind them are the Orcs with Warbows. In the front of them right there, the single character, that's his level 4. Right next to them is the unit of goblins with the fanatics. Next to them is the river troll, and behind him is the general on a wyvern. And then in the back there is his doom diver catapult. The little skull green thing, tornado thing, that's to indicate that that's where the poison banner is, because that's a lot of shots coming at me. On the other side of the house is the River Hag, which is one of the coolest models in the game, or coolest units, whatever you want to say. Then he's got his Orc Boar Boys and another Night Goblin on a Cave Squig in the forest, either with the Walloper or the Backstabber. So it's going to be a pretty intense battle, or that's what I thought, and I was looking forward to it. Against all the odds, I actually got to go first. Of course, I got the +1 because I have like 6 drops. So yeah, that worked out. And I fired forward. I mean, it's Warriors of Chaos. There's not a lot of subtlety to this list. The dragon moved up 10 inches so he could still throw his stone thrower. Everybody else moved up a lot. I baited out with the dogs and the dragon ogre. I wasn't too worried about that. But I figured if anything charged dogs I didn't want to fight, I would just flee with them and then be able to countercharge with my Demon Prince and my Knights, depending on what it was. I really wanted my Demon Prince to go into the River Hag because I was curious to see how good of a fight that would be. I didn't think he could win, but I didn't really care either. This is a friendly game, and I was testing out a list. And then, of course, my Sorcerer Lord, he moved up his 7 inches onto the hill so that he has beautiful line of sight to just about everything. I would love to be able to take out the Orc Boar Boys with magic missiles, but, well, we'll see what the dice gods do. And honestly, other than getting Fleshy Abundance off on my Demon Prince and Oaken Shield off on my Warpfire Dragon, nothing else happened, and that's it for movement. We go into the magic phase, and the first thing that I do is with my Sorcerer Lord, I fire off the blue flame at the Orc Boar Boys, and it goes off, and I get the full salvo. 9 strength 4 AP2 shots into them, killing 4 of them outright. Oh, it was a good start. It was a really good start. That is quickly followed up with the Ruby Ring of Ruin, which also goes off. I think I get like no, I get 7 shots at him. I do 4 or 5 wounds, needing fours, which is insane. He got his full save, but I was able to slip that last wound through and murder the Boar Boys, which was huge. It's a massive threat taken off the table. Next up, since I didn't march, I fire the warp fire thing from the Warfire Dragon. I can't remember what it's called. And it does deviate a little bit, but he ends up still hitting the goblins pretty well, as you can see. Hitting 4 of them pretty solid, and then doing like 4 partials. And I ended up taking out 6 in total, which was amazing. Not a bad shot at all things considered. The resulting panic check for heavy casualties, he ended up failing, and they ran off the table, taking the fanatics with him. I didn't expect that. I never expect that, but this was just a taste of how bad his leadership roles are going to go this game. It's actually almost criminal, but you'll see in a second. So I am merciful, and that's all I could possibly do. So we go over here to bottom of turn 1, and my opponent goes, his River Troll was stupid. Yeah, again, leadership checks and Shyhammer just were not meshing this game at all. On the left flank there, his Night Goblin flies forward. I mean, really took off down the side there and threatens my entire left flank. And Night Goblin, big boss or not, on a Cave Squig, that's still a threat. I was worried. I knew my dragon wasn't going to stick around, but the knights and the dragon ogre, it's not going to look good. It's not going to look good at all. The Cave Squig, he moves up just on the other side of the hill, so I can't see him, which is smart. His black orcs and orcs just kind of stayed still. His caster did run behind the hill, and I'll show you why in a second. But yeah, the wyvern did try to charge. His general did try to charge my knights. They're frenzied. All they could do was stand. He did not make that charge. His stupid troll moved forward just a little bit, and then the river hag moved forward a little bit to threaten the dogs, but didn't charge. And then on the right side there, his other night goblin on a cave squig came down the flank a little bit to threaten my sorcerer lord, and that's really it for movement. So in the strategic phase, he tried to cast a hex or an enchantment. I can't remember which, and he immediately miscast. First spell he tried to get off, he immediately miscasted it and ended up with a 9. So it went off at the base level. I was in range. I was able to stop it, no problem. But he can't cast for the rest of the turn. That's why his character, that one right there, went behind the big orcs. There was no reason to stay out and exposed because he couldn't cast anything for the rest of the turn. Like I said, his dice were 110% on my team. But it gets worse. We continue with the shooting phase. He fires his Doom Diver at my Warp Fire Dragon and misfires 1, blowing up the Doom Diver catapult. I mean, his luck could not get any worse. This is not tactical genius on my part at all. This is apparently a blood sacrifice to the dice gods I was unaware that I made. And it's a shame. I like Shyhammer a lot. He's a damn good guy. And the fact that I'm abusing him through his dice, I mean, it's satisfying. Don't get me wrong. I'm messing. He was a good sport about it the whole time. Everybody's been on this side of it. It sucks, but there is no mercy in this dojo, and these orcs must die. So yeah, there's nothing else for him to do. I think he's afraid to roll dice at this point, and I don't blame him. So we go to top of 2, and I do some movement. He does dispel my Pillar of Flame, that doesn't do anything, and he dispels my Fleshy Abundance, but I'm able to cast it and bring it back. My Demon Prince and my Knights charged his River Hag. I didn't look before I rolled it, and I actually blocked the Knights charging in. I learned a rule thing too. Thank you, Kaz. Really appreciate that. My Warpfire Dragon charged into his orcs because it's just the golden friggin' charge right there. It's the best thing you could do. My dogs did charge his River Troll, who fled and actually got away no problem. So my dogs actually are in a really bad position, but that's fine. They're chaff for a reason. The Knights and the Dragon Ogre turned to face the Night Goblin on a Cave Squig because whoever he's going to charge, I'd rather it be face to face. I think that's the one with the Backstabber. It could be the Wallapa. I don't remember. But yeah, the other Knights failed their charge, so they just moved up behind the Demon Prince, and my Sorcerer Lord on a chariot just kind of shifted over to the left a little bit because he didn't want to get easily charged by the other Night Goblin on a Cave Squig. And that's pretty much it for my movement. In the magic phase, my sorcerer lord gets blue flame off on the night goblin war boss or whatever, and I'm able to do 2 wounds to him, but that was it. I tried to get the ruby ring of ruin off, it didn't go off. Tried to get pillar of flame off, it didn't go off. So my sorcerer lord may or may not be in trouble next turn. Everybody else that could do any kind of magic or shooting is in combat, so we go into combat, and I start off with this one, and I do what I always do. I flop 5 attacks, needing, I think I was at -2 to hit, so I needed 4s to hit them, and then I think like 2s to wound, 3s or 2s to wound. It wasn't bad. I only ended up getting 1 wound. It did go through, and since it's the Ogre Blade, I ended up doing 2 wounds to the River Hag. In return, I took 1 wound back after all was said and done. He did the, he basically slaps me around like a petulant child, and I take D3 wounds, but I was able to regen it, so I was okay. Or not regen, but ward save it, so I was okay. But he did stomp me and get 1 through, so that hurt my feelings a little bit. In the end, I did 2 wounds. He did a wound and had close order, so nothing happens. We just stand there and continue to slap fight. In combat over here, my Warp Fire Dragon goes wild. Ends up killing, I want to say, 6 of the orcs in total after all is said and done. In return, he does take 2 wounds, but again, I'm fine with that, because if he explodes, I'm going to get the Mangler Squig, I'm going to get the, what's it called, the Caster, the big old brick of orcs with war bows. They did shoot at my Dragon Ogre, but he's got a 2-up save, and he made all of his saves. It was only like 3 wounds. But anyway, I end up winning this combat, but they're stubborn, so they fall back in good order, which causes an avalanche of fear checks, panic checks, because it does count as, you know, when you're falling back in good order. He rolled a 6, so he ends up falling back with that unit. They end up going off the table. The caster panicked, and the big brick of orcs panicked. I'm not joking. I'm not making this up. They all fled off the table. The caster didn't flee off the table. He ended up standing, but because of where he ended up, the unit of orcs bounced through him and the river troll off the table. Half his damn army has fled off the table, and it's top of turn 2. I couldn't believe it. I haven't seen this bad at dice rolling since the last time I did it, but this might be the first time I've ever been on this side of dice rolling this bad. And that's it. That's the end of the game. At this point, I mean, there's no real point going forward. Shyhammer conceded the game, and we just called it from here. He re-racked and played against one of our buddies that was there, Kaz, and that was really cool. Kazandu. He's the one that's been whooping my ass the past couple of online GTs every time I ran into him. Great guy, great opponent, great player, and he's got a demon list that is not to be underestimated. I mean, I'm going to underestimate it, just not in this battle report. But yeah, we called it at this point. And yeah, that was something else. So short game, let's get to the recap. Oh yeah, so I guess if all my opponents just roll like crap, I'll never lose. I don't know why I've been trying to get better at this game when all I have to do is apparently sell my soul so that my opponents roll terribly. Who knew? The Combat Demon Prince is not playing to my strengths. It's exactly what I was worried about. I rolled like crap to hit, rolled like crap to wound, did 2 wounds. I got lucky that I made my saves, because honestly, in any other situation, my Demon Prince would have vaporized. So I think I'm going to end up just changing him up a bit. I like the Demon Prince a lot, don't get me wrong, but I think I'm going to adapt his kit to play more towards my playstyle, like Magic Missile Machine Gun type of stuff, with the ability to get into combat and take out like chaff or war machines or things that, you know, opportunities, you know, targets opportunity. That's kind of what I'm going to be looking for with him. The Sorcerer Lord is perfect as he is. There's no reason to change him. I could take him off the chariot, I suppose, and put him on like a demonic mount or whatever, but I like him having the higher toughness, the extra wounds, and the 360 shooting style. It's just, he's good as is. But I might tinker with putting him on a demonic mount just to see. The Warpfire Dragon is impressively good. I should not have hesitated to use him with the Stone Thrower attack, his ability to cast magic, and he is a beast in combat. Oh man, I should have been using him since day 1. I feel terrible for my opponent, though. Shyhammer didn't deserve that. I know, we've all been there. He was a totally cool sport, didn't like throw a fit or anything. I mean, if you know anything about Shyhammer, he's not that kind of player. He's not going to throw a fit because his dice aren't going his way. It's when I pick up his mouse and throw him across the room. He gets mad and something about don't destroy my stuff, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it was still a good game. I feel terrible that his dice were that bad. We've all been there, and I guarantee that our rematch will be brutal. He's going to adapt his list. He's going to sacrifice whatever he needs to sacrifice in order to get his dice rolling average again, and it's going to be a much bloodier match. So, dude, please don't kick me off the team. I'm excited to be on the team. I don't want to be kicked off the team. So this was a big game. I finally got to put some more orcs and goblins on the type there. However, I only took the numbers from the models that were actually off the table when my opponent conceded. The rest of them, I'm not going to take the numbers for. Listen, this game went way too much in my favor as it is, so that's the way I decided to do it. And you can't stop me because I'm in control of my own destiny. I didn't get any of his characters. All 4 of his characters are still on the board with when the game was conceded. But in core, I will take the Fanatics because they ran off the table with the 20 Night Goblins, bringing those numbers up significantly. I feel pretty good about that. I got 14 more Black Orcs. The Warpfire Dragon really clinched the game there. Golly. There were no Spider Riders, but I did get the 38 Orc mobs, which brought my total up to 38 because it was the first time I've seen him in the game, or at least the first time I've killed him in the game. In Special, I did get 5 more Orc Boar Boys because magic missiles are overpowered, and in Rare, the Doom Diver Catapult ran off the table, but the Mangler Squig stuck around. So all in all, pretty solid numbers, pretty solid increases. I'm feeling great about this. Quick look at all the quote-unquote good humans I've murdered over the months. Nothing to add here. I just like looking at dead wood elves and unworthy Tomb Kings. Demons and warriors are still solid numbers that I feel pretty good about. My dark elf and high elf numbers are fermenting nicely. And while I haven't killed a lot of beastmen, with a little luck, we'll be able to invade somebody else's territory and murder some more and add to these numbers soon. But that's going to do it for this one. Another battle report in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But as always, thanks!